We go
Oh my God.
live now.
Okay, I put some makeup put on.
I don't care. We don't need makeup from you. so so as we're popping on live, I'd like to welcome everyone to Bridges Live. I'm Dr. Paul, and Dr. Paul brings Bridges Live to information, understanding, and education, and action more than anything. And I have some elite guests on the line across the country. Right now, we're in Toronto, we're in Maryland, United States, and we're in Malaysia. And they're going to introduce themselves and describe what they do, because this is going to be a long conversation. And I'll tell you why. Because this is information, if we don't understand what's going on across the globe, you forget that you're a human. That's all I'm going to say. So, Dr. Johan, please introduce yourself. Information, if we don't understand what's Dr. Johan, go ahead. Across the globe, you can you hear me? Are you did the connection, is he frozen? Dr. Shana, is he frozen? So
okay. Am I going to start first?
Yeah, you can go up because I think he froze. So Dr. Shannon, Dr. Young, please introduce yourself in Malaysia.
Hi everyone. I didn't expect
Sorry,
that this is going to start.
can anybody hear me?
Well, we can hear you now.
Dr. Bright go first. Yeah.
Hold on. There he is.
Sorry, there? I'm back. I think we have connection issues.
That's okay. We will. Hey, there's you know what? I'll tell you this, and I'm very serious. Connection issues are okay because we will reconnect, and I promise you this. But when we suffer and we suffer alone, we never connect. And allow us to have reconnection issues more than disconnection issues, because this is part of our global issues that we have, is that we don't seem to transmit or connect or reconnect. So let's have connection issues and let's fix them. Dr. Johan? Dr. Shana?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, until he comes back, introduce yourself, please.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Dr. Shana, and I didn't expect that. I'm in live in YouTube now. Okay. I didn't prepare. So pardon me my pale look. Okay. I'm Shana. My Chinese name is Yang Huixuan. Yeah. I'm Malaysian Chinese. I grew up in Malaysia. I was raised and I was born in Kuala Lumpur all my life. So, well, I'm very glad to be connected to Dr. Paul. And just to tell you a little bit of my background, I am an economist and I have my PhD in business. And I was in many multinational companies before as a marketing manager, brand manager, business development manager when I was 20, and also was an entrepreneur to trade furniture, and now I'm actually working in a financial institution as in wealth. So we're dealing with high net worth client and sophisticated client, and that's my work. Okay. And I also is a beauty queen, and I just won my title. It was quite fun. I just participated a competition. I'm the Mrs. Malaysia Global Universe 2019 winner, and I also the Mrs. Global Universe Supreme Queen Ambassador 2020, and also the Mrs. Global Universe 4th runner-up 2020. So I actually is very active in social media to advocate some pro bono work. It's really a pro bono, and it's my passion to advocate women empowerment after my pageantry. and it's my goal to advocate human rights, world peace, domestic violence, and also gender equality. And I believe with my strong, persistent advocacy, and I have achieved the result that I want today. And I non-stop in doing some webinar with local lawyers and also some professions, and to tie up with the biggest women organization is called Women AIDS Organization, WAO. The webinar is still on. You can Google my name, Dr. Shana, in the Facebook. You will see a lot of my my stuff there, and you will see the video there. The webinar is still going on. We have hit a lot of viewerships for that webinar. So it's my first series of webinar to talk about domestic violence with and that's where my background. So today I'm actually very happy to be here to continue the journey in a bigger global platform, and I also connected to FAAVM to represent them in doing this social. Really, really proud to be the member of FAAVM, and also I'm really very proud to know Dr. Paul. Yeah.
Dr. Johan, are you here? Are you with us? I know we're having connection issues with and Dr. Johan. He is the chairman of the Global Diplomatic Ambassadors across the United States. He's been bringing different subjects to the ICC, the International Criminal Court, and International Criminal of Justice. I understand that we are having Johan, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Introduce
Oh,
yourself.
good. Okay, so I'm Ambassador Johan Bird. So I am the Secretary General and Executive Chairman of the Global Diplomatic Council and the International Commission of Diplomacy and Global Affairs. I'm also accredited to the United Nations, the European Union, the Commonwealth, NATO, and UNESCO. And I do a lot of work on diplomacy. I do a lot of work on human rights issues. We work on a lot of issues surrounding represented nations and people, but also unrepresented nations and people. And a part of the work that we do at the Council is to bring forward and strengthen our diplomacy, our politics, our social community, our social justice system, and our corporate environments as well, bringing them closer together. But I think, as Dr. Paul has highlighted, I think the human touch is very important, and this is what is missing and lacking, and it has certainly become a lot of the work that I do in terms of developing, human diplomacy. And I think that is the new way of diplomacy. It's the only way of diplomacy, actually, in kind of leading in looking at global affairs right now, and looking at all of the global problems that we face, but also in terms of human rights issues and social issues. I think it's very important that that we bring about and bring forward the human element, because we're so disconnected from one another. We're so disconnected from reality. We're so disconnected from what is really driving us and how we see the future. And if we don't do it now, if we don't act now, and I think it can only happen through affirmative action, and unless we as humans don't take that affirmative action, I think we're in for very, 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 tough future And this is something that we need to collectively and collaboratively work on.
Dr. Johan, I want to ask you a specific question, and I want people, because a lot of people listen to me in the United States, but we're here globally. Dr. Johan is in Malaysia. I mean, Dr. Shana is in Malaysia, and you are throughout the Netherlands, and because you go to the International Criminal Court. What are some of the things what are some of the issues that are bringing up in the court system, in the International Criminal Court system, that a lot of people don't know?
Predominantly, the international, the court, ICC and the ICJ, two separate kind of court systems within one. The international court being under the guidance of the United Nations. A lot of the cases typically now are to bring about justice of, world leaders, of, when it comes to genocide, when it comes to human rights issues, when it comes to criminal cases that are heard, that are brought forward to the International Court and the International Court of Justice. So there are several courts that are actually within the system that hear cases within Europe and other international cases that are heard, but it certainly is meant to bring justice to countries, to nations, and to people that are discriminated against, that are marginalized, but certainly also when it comes to criminal activity, international criminal activity. So that holds a whole array of areas that one can be tried for. So this is what really happens at the International Court of Justice, the ICC and the ICJ, which is located in The Hague, Netherlands. And this is it's obviously a beautiful building to be in. Unfortunately, the cases that are tried, are very lengthy and could be short, could be lengthy as well. There are cases that have been ongoing for the last 20 years. There have also been cases that are heard, that only are a matter of a few days. So it all depends on what's heard, what's tried, what the evidence-based. We also used to have the Yugoslav tribunal. So we have several tribunals at the ICC and the ICJs as well. So we used to have like one of the prominent tribunals was the Yugoslav tribunal. The Yugoslav tribunal no longer exists, but it was actually to try, the atrocities of the former Yugoslavia. So there are different tribunals that are set up. It has a different administration for each tribunal. So this is also within the premises of the ICC and the ICJ.
I have been so much in different countries and done so many different things because of the ICC and the ICJ and the United Nations and in the military. And a lot of people, like I just got off a phone with people with post-traumatic prison disorder, and people don't recognize the effects it has on the lives it has the effects on. And Dr. Shannon, I want to ask you this, with women who are being brutalized across the nation, across the global community, and we don't seem to recognize the effects it's having in our own communities. You want to speak to that?
Yeah. Sorry, your question is actually to I can't hear very clearly. Can you please repeat?
Yeah, it's about, because you are heading up a lot of mental health in the women that is causing the disturbance, and a lot of people across the country are not understanding the atrocities that are happening across the globe that is causing mental health issues to women in itself. And I know,
Ah,
yeah,
okay, okay. Uh, all right, because my recent study on mental health for women, especially I think during the COVID-19, okay, this pandemic is really something that unexpected for this year. And the domestic violence is actually has been increased double. All right. Not only Malaysia, it's actually globally. It's everywhere. It's happening. It's actually increasing the domestic violence because of women are, they can't go anywhere, so they are confined in the family. It will even increase the cases of domestic violence because of their immobility. So I think mental health is something that we need to work on, and then we actually I'm the team of survivor domestic violence in TINA. TINA is a Think I Need Aid under the Women Aid organization. They have the hotline, they have the WhatsApp line for the women who cannot call. At least you can WhatsApp to understand your situation and maybe to extend a help to women who are under stress. I think stress level is the biggest issue in mental health. The stress, the trauma that they have gone through, and they can't get out from the stress level because of they are in the situation of domestic violence. And I can understand that it is not easy to escape. So as I as a leader, I think we should to give more help, extend our advocacy to work with the non-profit organization, non-government organized profit government organization to raise the awareness to stop violence. This is something that to help women to have a stable living, happy living, to how to resolve their mental health, because it can lead to suicide. It can they will have more suicide cases happen because of some, even it may not, this pandemic may not be in domestic violence. It could be lost their job. And I have seen few cases already, even within the banking industry, that they are not able to hit their KPI. They are under stress. They are lost their job, and there's a suicide case happened here in Malaysia. So I'm thinking we need to continue. I think the webinar is very important for people to watch, to understand, to listen, to release their stress. That's the very basic of addressing the fundamental of mental health, the stress level, that we are here to help you. We are here to listen to you, to provide you some guidance. And this is not the end of the world. And life is precious, and life is very short, and we should contribute to, you see, I'm doing this is pro bono job, and I have been doing a lot of advocacy, and I will have another webinar on domestic violence, of talking about mental health issues. So don't give up, and there is a way to overcome the situations, the crisis. Even we have to fight together globally, because the pandemic is really wave hitting us, and the cases yesterday in Kuala Lumpur actually has been increased. So people are not allowed to go and go out. Everyone had to play a part, to wear your mask, to follow the SOP from World Health Organization. That to read more. You can actually to that's why education is very important. It could be a good time for you to spend more time on reading. to do something you like, your hobby, and that release your stress. That's how I think. So so this is how I would think on the mental health. That first of all, we as a leader, we should actually to help the minorities and the weakest one to build a strong society. Yeah.
Dr. Johan, a lot of times that people happen in our communities, it happens globally. And how does this get to the courts? What are some of the ways that it gets to the ICC?
It all depends on the situation. It all depends on the international support that it gets. Of course, a lot of minority communities are having difficulty with getting into the ICC and to the ICJ simply because of the fact that they're not recognized. So the non-recognized states or people, those minorities communities, unfortunately, have a difficult time in reaching any type of court cases, and also there's simply no funds to get anything into the ICC to ICJ unless you get the proper representation. So there's a lot that can be done, and but the process is quite lengthy when you do start some kind of procedure. What we have been able to do, and let me just take that angle. What we've been able to do through the council is when we do represent those unrepresented communities or those unrepresented people or nation or those visible minorities, we basically represent on your behalf. So what we typically do is we assess the case, we assess our we basically, with our team of legal experts, we would prepare a legal brief if there's any founding evidence. Everything is evidence-based, so it's a collection of information. It's a collection of what are we able to do and use the jurisprudence and the law in order to bring these cases up to the highest level. We have been quite successful in doing that simply because of the fact that we are able to reach the ICC and ICJ directly with our legal team who are experienced in taking these cases on and bringing them to the highest court, international court, to be heard. There are some cases that are successful. Some cases, obviously we'll go through a very lengthy process because we simply do not have, the legal backing, or we don't have the international support of the international community to substantiate the case. For some, it is a non-issue, and for some, it certainly is something that we're working on. One of the cases that we're working on right now, for instance, is the Karen situation in Myanmar. So that's an active case that we're working on right now, which is now finally gaining ground. Simply because of the fact that we have some international support when it comes to the atrocities in Myanmar and looking at the situation. So singling out the Karen community and situation, has taken us about a year to get the evidence necessary in order to file court proceedings and court cases and briefings. So we have been quite successful in that regard.
I was going to ask you about the case that's in Burma and Myanmar. Tell us about the case and tell us why it took so long to get there.
Well, the case is actually because the Karen community, they actually have been fighting for independence since 1946. So since 1946, they've been fighting for independence. There has been a lot of marginalization. There has been a lot of genocide, and obviously military occupation of their territory, which they claimed as their own separate state. Although right now there is only a certain groups and certain parties that are actually kind of militant organizations that are running that territory. I actually have been to that territory. It's and the only reason why I was able to go to that territory is because of my UN security. And because it is a very dangerous territory, it's a very rural area as well, and it's a very small population, but there is a Karen diaspora, all over the United States. The United States have been quite active with this case, with the Karen situation, more so than Europe, for instance. So we've been working with our U.S. counterparts in gaining evidence, gaining information. We actually went on several fact-finding missions, and there is occupancy. So from the Myanmar military, and we were able to identify. I went to all the refugee camps there as well. So there's thousands that have been killed, thousands that have been displaced. So we were able to document this. Our legal team wrote briefings, and because of the Myanmar case that was brought on into the International Court, which was heard just last year, and with the president on trial, we were able to use that as to leverage the atrocities in Myanmar and that region.
Dr. Young, I want to ask you a question, because I just got an inbox and saying, why should we care about other people's pain? Dr. Young? Dr. Young, can you hear me?
Are you asking a question to me or to Dr. Shanna?
Dr. Shanna, I don't think she can hear me. I think she frozen up. Dr. Shanna.
You are asking me?
Yeah. I had an inbox due the question that says, why should we care about anyone's pain across the globe?
Good questions. I think it's very personal. I'm a very philanthropic person, and why we should care about people's pain, because simply I was pain. And when you were in pain and nobody is actually hearing you, and if I have the ability, if I have the chance to be the leader, I think as a leader we should lead people. We put people in front of us and put people before us, and to hear the pain is because you want to heal a person in their pain. Healing is something that is take a long term. It's very long term, and mental is not today I'm telling you, tomorrow you will recover. It's so completely, it will never happen. So it is the conscious of our mind that we want to help people. The more you help, the more you gain I believe in karma. So the more you help, the more the karma for the nations will have a better karma in a sense. So I always like to help people. Yeah, and I think that people are really helpless. We voice for the voiceless, and I'm happy to see people um, who can be recovered from their pain and
So,
to move on in life.
so Dr. Shannon, let me ask you this. You mentioned karma, and I'm a practicing Buddhist. And the thing is that a lot of people don't understand that what they do is service to humanity and not service to themselves. Is there a way you could explain that? Because we need people to be in service and not selfish.
Yes, correct. Continue to serve the community, to serve the people, selflessness. Okay, to serve is not because you want to get famous. To serve is not because you want to gain some profit. To serve is not because you want to gain the popularity. That is not serving. That is serve with intention. That's a serve with some your, well, I put it as an ill intention. Famous, popularity. When you have your famous popularity, I go to the road that to serve selflessness, to voice for the voiceless, because there are many people who are minorities. They are not able to speak well. They are not able to speak up, and nobody hear them. And there where we are here to voice for them. We are here to assist them. We are here to build an infrastructure for them to live a better life, to build a better education, to build better economies, a better job offers that we can to raise the bar. If we all the educated people who's able to and the rich people who can help them. So this is how I see we should serve without even thinking gaining any profit, without thinking any returns. This is a pure heart for you to really serve. Yeah.
Dr. Johan, this is the problem why many cases don't get to the ICC and the ICJ is because humanity is not involved. How can we involve humanity to get these cases heard? I think there was a connection with there, and here's the thing I have, and Dr. Yo, when he comes back on, the problem I have when people need an explanation to be heard, it bothers me. It's like when you call someone to service, it should just be a call to service, not because of the reason why. Dr. Johan, you back with me?
I'm back with you.
Okay, what I was going to ask when I was asking you is that many times the cases that don't get to the ICC and ICJ is because humanity is not involved in the understanding. Is there a way we can get people to understand humanity is the answer?
I think the problem that we're facing, or that I can see, is that I think the humanity and understanding humanity and bringing awareness and cases to the highest court. Unfortunately, I think the court system is failing us. The International Criminal Court, the International Criminal Court of Justice, is failing those that need it most, those that need to be heard, those that need to be have a voice, those that need to be represented are not being represented. And I think that the court system, as it is right now, just focuses on just very high-profile cases, that gain traction, that gain international attention. But those that are not in a position to do so unfortunately don't have that voice. And that is something that we've been trying to break those barriers. We've been trying to kind of, soft pedal that and get, the attention that is required for all, because I think that justice is for all. It's meant for all, not just only for the few. And I think this is what we need to break through. We need to break those barriers and make the system work for all, justice for all, that everybody deserves, and everybody deserves to be heard. So I think we need to start with those barriers within the system. I think the system, the institutions that we have and that we know it, unfortunately are not working as it was meant to work when established. So I think we're dealing with a very aged system that obviously, as time has evolved and progressed, and as the world's problems have increased, I think the visible minorities continue to stay invisible instead of visible. And we need to bring more awareness, more programs, work with the, justice system in order to break through and give a voice to all that deserve it.
We just had an election here with our president of the United States. We had an election, and people which call had voting fraud, and on both sides, between the Republicans and Democrats, and people just don't trust the system. Now, Dr. Yang, what happens when we don't trust the system, and yet we are still being abused?
Talking, am I answering?
Yes.
Okay. I think I have something to say on this as well, because I think as a politician is to serve. A politician is not to conquer the world, conquer your country, to gain power. In fact, you are having a duty, a role, a heavy responsibility that people put on you to perform the duty that people highly regards on you. That's why they vote you, that you have to deliver to bring the country in the next level, to be prosperous in economic, social, and governance. And the system that the country, any country has their own system. Okay, we respect the system, and we have to. I think the respect is very important. We cannot. It's not for your own self. The system is for the people. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about in a country in the top level, the system is complicated. It's not so simple. And I believe any of the leader will sit up there that people voted you, and you will have to have the responsibility to carry out the system. Yeah. So it's just very important, and you are not control your people in that manner. You are not gaining the power in controlling people. In fact, you should be giving the rights, the freedom, to give your people live from free, live from all forms of discriminations, no racist, no, to bring up the justice for the people. That's where people rely on you, because you are the leader for the country. So, yeah.
Dr. Johan, you have a great responsibility, and I'm so proud to call you a friend. And you've been doing such hard work on the diplomatic global issue. You have a lot of pressure on you, sir. A lot of pressure.
The pressures are there, but I think that bringing people together, and understanding people, understanding them, giving them a platform, giving them a voice, giving each other the opportunity to work together, come together, to find peace, to find unity. I think these are the fundamental, areas that we need to highlight. And as I feel, um, you know, pressures come from all parts and from people, from situations, global situations, local situations. But I think that those fundamental areas are of great concern to me, are of greater concern to me than any pressures that I may have in my role, in my responsibility. But I think humanity has a responsibility. We have a responsibility to one another, to stand by one another, to support one another. We can, as we go through COVID right now, we can't touch, we can't feel, but the power of humanity is greater than any any atrocities or any issues that we are facing with on a day-to-day basis. And I think this is where, I don't feel the burden, because I think bringing and strengthening humanity in many ways, being able to provide that vehicle to come together, to be stronger together, I think it's a very powerful tool. And that, gives me much greater, confidence in people. If we can only find that way of communicating with one another, trusting one another, and giving each other that helping hand, I think, those burdens weaken. And I think under the circumstances, I think we are stronger together. We're better for each other, and that releases a lot of pressure on leadership as we know it. I think that is something that I build on, that I trust on, that I also mandate throughout our work that we do, and we do it for humanity. We don't do it for self-proclamation or anything like that. I think the important work that we try to do, we try to do together. And I think that is something that is at the forefront, should be at the forefront. And that, that takes a big burden off your shoulder. And I think leadership is all about humanity. Leadership in humanity is, I think, the steps that we need to take to move forward. And if we're going to solve, global issues and global problems, the only way we can do that is to rely on one another, to trust one another. And leadership is not by, me, I think by being able to lead others to understand one another. I think that is the only step forward. And I think, we're all leaders in our own rights. We're all leaders of ourselves. We can't lead, others if we can't lead ourselves first. So I think there's a lot of self-reflection, especially in these times. I think it's important to start trusting. There's so much of doubt that is cast on all of us that make us do the things that we do, make the decisions that we do. But I think if we can lead ourselves, we can lead with each other, to better pastures than we are right now. So yes, there is a lot of pressure and a lot of heavy burdens that we carry as leaders, but I think we can soften those by embracing the people that we have with us, to continue the path of the path of humanity, the path of, kindness, the kind of, things that we do for one another that makes us better people, and to, bring about greater understanding, deeper thought within ourselves. And, I think that is the path forward. Unfortunately, those are the most difficult ways of moving forward. But I think if we give it that opportunity, give it that chance to do that together, I think that we will enter into a much better place.
Dr. Shannon, before Dr. Young, before we take off, and Dr. Johan said a couple of things between leadership and responsibility are such key things. And before we take off, and I just want to say thank you to so many people who are watching this, like this, and share, but join us. But I'll say it at the end. But Dr. Young, what would you like to say before we take off?
Yeah, I have just one last word, that humanity, a leader with humanity, will bring you to prosperity, will bring you to stability, will bring you to harmony. So this is very important, that you have to see a humanity leader will bring you to all the goodness and speak for the righteous. So I wish everyone who stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask, and stay at home. And let's fight together with this pandemic globally. Thank you.
And Dr. Johan, before we take off, please, what would you like to say to us? Because we're going to do this again. This is not the last of our conversations publicly, because we have conversations privately, but publicly, what would you like to say?
Well, Dr. Paul, thank you very much for this opportunity, and it's certainly a pleasure to be discussing and talking about these very important issues. Just in closing, I want to urge that humanity is something very unique. It's something very special. It's something that we create as people. It's only humans that can create human behavior, human thought, human touch, human feel. I think in order to prosper, in order to move forward, in order to face any issues that come our way, any difficulties that come our way, can only be dealt with if we continue believing in ourselves, believing in the human, elements, believing and trusting in each other. I think that's the only way that we can start, looking at our bright future, that there is, that, we have a good understanding. Trusting each other, believing in each other, believing in yourself is the path forward. Keep communicating, and, just be kind. Kindness goes a long way. Kindness is a part of humanity, and it's a fundamental area of humanity. It's just simply kindness. Be kind to yourself, be kind to one another. And I believe that we can strengthen humanity and bring back all that we have lost. I thank you for the opportunity.
With my sentiments of
thanks for the opportunity too.
This is not the last. This is not the last. But I do want to say thank you everyone for listening to Bridges Live. I'm Dr. Paul, and we will be talking about this more. But here's the thing I want you to take away. Service is everything. Humanity is all we have. And if you join in to the collective of the one, not the collective of the many, because we can only be one if we're going to survive all of this. So I say God bless and thank you for everyone for joining us to Bridges Live. Thank you so much. I will contact you all later, and many blessings, and I will talk to you. And thank you for joining Bridges Live.
Stay safe.